Brian Babin is a Republican congressman from Texas and co-chair of the House Border Security Caucus. Congressman, thank you for joining us. And I want to go down your list. What do you want to do with catch and release?
Well, we want to reinstate the not catch and release. Because this is exactly what's happened. You know, I've been listening to your show here for the last few minutes, and incredibly, Jen Psaki at the White House is saying that the border is closed. It's far from closed. If it's closed, I'd hate to see what she thinks open is, because with all the reversal of the policies of President Trump's administration by this administration, it has absolutely created an enormous crisis down there, and that's why we're taking a number of members of the Texas House of Representatives, U.S. House, and we've also. I'd like to say this too, Arthel. We have invited Vice President Kamala Harris to attend some of our itinerary and see for herself, since President Biden has given her the direction of the border. We thought it would be, a good thing to do for her to come down and see exactly what's going on down there, since in the past she has thought that President Trump's policies were cruel and inhumane, and that they were putting children in cages. And quite frankly, it's going on at a much, much worse rate today.
So a couple of things, Congressman. I hear what you're telling me, and I want to follow up on that. What has the Vice President office told you? Is the Vice President Harris going to go down with you, or what's the plan?
We have not heard yet, but we're hoping so. We'll be going down there tonight, and some of us will be going down there tomorrow. And quite frankly, even President Lopez Obrador has said that President Biden is the migrant president. He has created this. He wants to turn our country into a sanctuary country.
I just want to be clear on how is it? What is it? So apparently you've had direct contact with President Obrador. What is he saying specifically in that, how President Biden is causing this? Give us specifics. I'd like to know, sir.
You bet. Well, I have not actually spoken with President Lopez Obrador. I have spoken with my colleague, Democrat Henry Cuellar, down in Laredo. We will be meeting with him in his district when we do the tours. But there are quotes from President Lopez Obrador saying that President Biden has enabled and empowered the cartels, and he actually called President Biden the migrant president.
So, do you think, excuse me, but do you think then to that point that the president of Mexico will want to work with President Biden to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy?
I would hope so, because it has created not only chaos in our country, it has created an extremely bad environment for his own. And I'm going to commend President Lopez Obrador, because he actually negotiated with our President Trump during his tenure to send his own National Guard down his own southern border, which has absolutely helped us. And if the bill that you spoke of that I'm co-sponsoring, what we need to do, what President Biden needs to do is to end catch and release, build the wall in these sanctuary cities, partner up with state and local law enforcement, and continue the negotiations with President Lopez Obrador and restore the Remain in Mexico policy, and allow our National Guard to go down there and help defend our homeland by bolstering the Border Patrol's manpower instead of keeping them at the Capitol in Washington, D.C.
What you're saying about your suggestions to secure the border, they all seem to be reasonable. So have you, now I asked you about Vice President Harris, I'm going to ask you about President Biden now. Have you been able to get a meeting with him, or at least get some of your delegation to meet with someone in his office? Your people meet with his people, in other words.
We have had numbers. As you mentioned, I'm the co-chairman of the House Border Security Caucus. We have talked several times about asking for meetings with this administration, just like we did during the Trump administration. We worked hand in glove with the administration of the past.
Have you gotten a yes from the Biden administration to your request for meetings yet?
Lamentably, no, we have not. Just like we have not heard from Vice President Kamala Harris. But they need to see exactly what's going on. We had our senators down there last week. And we're going to see the same thing, but it gets worse by the day.
Yeah.
And
it's problematic for sure.
Order.
Absolutely. And,
Yes.
and I want to ask you, and I'm asking you these questions because I want to, just like you, we want to make sure that this problem gets fixed. So when I'm asking you about the meetings, you said you haven't heard back from them yet. How long ago did you request the meeting? So I'm asking, is that request something that's been lingering for 60 days, or is that something you requested a couple of days ago and you're waiting to hear back from them?
No, it's been several days ago. We're waiting to hear back from them. And this, we've been told for day after day, week after week, that this is not a crisis, and yet we know that it is a crisis. So this is time for the administration to step up and see it for themselves, and not put unofficial gag orders so the media can't go down and go in and see these facilities and tell us that we have a closed border and people are being turned back when we know that is absolutely not the truth.
Well, there definitely needs to be transparency. The media should be allowed in so we can show the American public what's going on. And Congressman, you seem to have great compassion, or passion, I should say, behind your fight to secure the border. So I'm hoping that you will get access to President Biden and to Vice President Harris, and that somehow, in a bipartisan way, we can work to fix the problem down there, Congressman.
Absolutely, Arthel. We have to protect not only the American citizens and our national security, but protect these migrants. They have been lured up here by rhetoric from this administration, which has opened this border and endangers everyone, including themselves.
Congressman Brian Babin, we will leave it there. We thank you for your time this Sunday.
Thank you, Arthel.
Take care.